you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Living the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here, coming at you from beautiful sunny San Diego, and welcome back to the Living the Dream podcast, where today we cover the topic of training to help you reach for your health, fitness, and wellness goals and in order to live your dream life. And in this episode, we're diving into the world of fitness myths and truths. Today, we're tackling 9 topics to uncover what is overrated and what is underrated in the pursuit of a healthier, fitter you. Let's just dive right in. Number 1, overrated. Being covered in sweat and exhausted for the workout to be effective. Underrated. Feeling good and energized after a workout. The misconception that a tough, sweat-drenching workout is the only effective one can lead to burnout and overtraining. On the other hand, feeling energized and positive post-workout is a more sustainable measure of effectiveness. Focus on how you feel after a workout and aim for a routine that leaves you energized and mentally refreshed. Choose workouts that you enjoy and that align with your energy levels and recovery needs. Incorporate activities like yoga or stretching to complement intense workouts, promoting recovery and well-being. Yes, there is a line here where, of course, it depends on your personality style, right? If you're someone that never gets motivated, that does the bare minimum, that has a hard time even getting to the gym, you're going to want to start small. You're going to want to start slow, but you're also want to push yourself a little bit. If you're a more type A, cortisol junkie, go all the time, always in a rush and constantly ticking off your to-do list, you might be someone that could take the intensity down a little bit and focus more on slow mind and muscle connection, more recovery, that kind of thing. So definitely know your personality style and adjust accordingly. Remember that exercise is a positive stress that you rebound from, but the goal is to do the least amount of work to elicit the most amount of change. There is a point of diminishing returns here where the more work you do, you will not see more results. Yes, we are in this American culture where more is better and more energy gets you more whatever, but not with fitness. There's a sweet spot. You have to try to hit this sweet spot of doing the least amount of work to elicit the most amount of change, and then recovering the optimal amount of time to be able to recover from the stimulus that you just created so that you can then create another stimulus so that you can continue the cycle of stimulus, recovery, build, stimulus, recovery, build. So figure out that way where you can find an intensity that leaves you feeling energized and mentally refreshed and a feeling of accomplishment, but also that pushes you past where you normally go. And then remember that consistency trumps everything. You could have the perfect intensity, the perfect amount of recovery, and only do it one time, and you'll never get to your goals. You could have a slightly not perfect intensity and recovery and do it consistently over time, and you'll much more likely get to your goals. Remember that exercise should be a celebration for what your body can do and not a punishment for what you consumed. Think about finding the workout that feels good and leaves you feeling good and energized. So that's number 1, overrated, being covered in sweat and exhausted for a workout to be effective. Underrated, feeling good and energized after a workout. Number 2, overrated, having a goal body weight. Underrated, having a goal lean body mass percentage. So this is talking about how the weight on the scale just does not represent what you really want it to represent. We've been we've been indoctrinated to think of that number on the scale means so much. But I could be 150 pounds at 40% body fat, or I could be 150 pounds at 20% body fat. Same exact weight on that scale, completely different body compositions, and the look of my body is completely different. Weight alone doesn't reflect fitness or health. It's your lean body mass percentage, your muscle mass percentage. That is a better indicator of your muscle to fat ratio and your overall body composition. So instead of focusing on the number on the scale, instead of eating to be thin, instead of working out to break down, you're eating to be nourished. You're training to be strong. You're working out to build. Focus on strength training. Focus on strength training to increase lean body mass and improve your body composition. Focus on phases where you are working more in a 8 to 12 rep range, doing weight that you can't lift more than 12, but you can definitely lift 8 times. Doing multiple sets, like 2 or 3 sets per body group, and doing that twice a week, like just hitting the major muscle groups, your arms, your back, your chest, your legs, making sure that you hit each major muscle group twice a week. And do this, and you will see improved body composition. Shift your focus from the scale to measurements. Maybe measure around your waist and your hips. And that is going to help you a little bit more with the shape of your body instead of just the overall number on the scale. That weight is just a representation of what you are to gravity. It doesn't tell you anything about what your metabolic health is. It doesn't tell you about your strength. It doesn't tell you about your independence or your dependence in your later years. Measure your body fat percentage with a in-body scan or calipers or a dunk tank. Here in San Diego, Coach Jolin does an amazing job. He brings his body fat dunk tank all around San Diego. I highly recommend checking him out. Body Fat Test SD. But measure your body fat percentage, and just remember that just like any tracker, any type of data that you're gathering, you just want to make sure you do it consistently, because you can see changes over time with consistent data, but inaccurate data done inconsistently, it might as well not even be, you might as well not even look at it. That data it does nothing for you. So just make sure that when you do measure yourself, you're measuring yourself the same way with the same variables every single time. Emphasize your nutrition that supports muscle growth and recovery rather than trying to minimize as much food as you can eat, bringing yourself into this deprivation state where I'm going to deprive myself of things because I want to be smaller. Emphasize nutrition that supports muscle growth, protein. Get that protein in. Make sure that you're eating enough fiber, you're drinking enough water, you're sleeping well, these things that help promote recovery. Muscles are the engine of the body, and fat is just the storage unit. Muscles are the engine. Fat is a storage unit. Don't worry about your weight. Overrated, having a goal body weight. Underrated, having a goal lean body mass percentage. Number 3, overrated, 10,000 steps a day. What? I know, we talk about that all the time on this podcast. Underrated, being overall active / non-sedentary throughout the day. So here's what I mean. While steps are a beautiful guideline, it does tell you how much movement you got that day. Overall movement throughout the day, including standing, stretching, active breaks, this has a broader health benefit beyond hitting a step count. The reason is it's spaced out. You could sit all day long and then take a 3-hour walk and get your 10,000 steps in. But because you sat all day long, that sedentary activity prolonged over hours and hours and hours, that is not how a human being is meant to live its life. Movement is life, motion is lotion, fitness is medicine. Your goal is to spread out your movement throughout the day. I know a lot of you have desk jobs. A lot of the people that I train and that I work with have desk jobs. But I think a lot of the times we make excuses because of what we're not aware of what we can do. We say, oh, I have to sit at a desk all day long. Even someone that is on Zoom for 8 hours in a row, you can still sit at your desk in different ways. I show a lot of my clients with a physio ball, which is this big rubber bouncy ball that you can sit on. You can do a kneeling lunge with one butt cheek on the ball and one knee behind you. You can do a figure four. You can take your laptop or your computer, you can put it on the couch, and you can do a 90-90 down on the floor. Like, there are just so many different positions that you can put your body in. And if you really listen to your body will tell you when it is time to move. It hates to be still. Now, some people have a slightly more fidgety type of body and nervous system, and others have a more slow Eeyore type, slow twitch type of system. But your body does not like to be in one position for very long. If you really internalize it, it'll tell you when you need to shift around, when you need to shift and move, and that is a signal that your blood flow, your lymphatic waste system, there are things in your body that need movement for life and to be able to flow properly. There's a guy that I follow, Dr. Perry Nicholson, which is his handle on Instagram is Stop Chasing Pain. And he talks about how life is all about flow. You want to make sure that you help things in your body flow. So just because you're trying to shoot for a big number and you chop it all down in one go, it's the same thing as if you work out 7 days a week, but you only work out for 1 hour a day. That's 4% of your week. 4%, 96% of your week is still sedentary. So it's not about so much getting your 10,000 steps. It's about being overall active / non-sedentary throughout the day, being able to throw in little movement breaks and being able to take whatever you're doing throughout the day and make it just a little bit more active. Instead of, we say this all the time. Let's just say it again. Instead of taking the elevator, we take the stairs. Instead of parking in the front, we park in the back. Instead of using our shopping cart to carry our groceries, we carry them in our arms. Set reminders to move every hour. Your phone, your watch, your iWatch, these things do this now. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. We started off with one of our clients, literally every hour, just stand up and do 10 bodyweight squats. Sit back down and go right back to work. It's better than what you were doing. Even better than that would be to find a staircase and go up and down some stairs a couple of times every hour. But anything, take short walks or short stretch breaks, anything to stop the sedentary behavior of that prolonged time of being in that sedentary position. Use a standing desk and find opportunities to stand for an hour and sit for an hour. Even that does a little bit of help. Incorporate hobbies that involve physical activity like gardening or dancing. Getting a walking treadmill could be something that you could slide underneath your desk. Yes, getting outside is a huge factor to this. I believe that if you can get outside, the more you can get outside, the better your health will be. So think about these ways where you can not just get a certain goal and knock it all out in one chunk. Think about how I can spread that out throughout the day. Sitting is kind of like the new smoking, but it's not so much sitting in itself. It's about the amount of time you spend in that position and then the amount of time, the lack of the amount of time that you don't spend in the other positions. So number 3, overrated 10K steps a day, underrated being overall active. Number 4, restrictive diets for fat loss. Things like keto, low carb, carnivore, vegan, etc. Underrated, sleep for fat loss. Overrated restrictive diets for fat loss. Underrated sleep for fat loss. Yeah. Extreme diets often neglect sustainable nutrition and overlook the critical role of sleep in regulating hormones. And that affects metabolism and fat storage. We talk about this study all the time. There are 2 groups of people who are in a calorie deficit, the same calorie deficit where they should have lost the same amount of weight. One group got 5.5 hours of little sleep. One group got 8 hours or more of full sleep. They both lost the same amount of weight. The group that slept the 5.5 less hours of bad sleep lost about 50%, 60% muscle mass. So most of it came from muscle. The other group lost the majority of it being body fat. The group that slept the full 8 hours. Sleep tells your body what to do with the nutrients that it needs to be done based on the quality and the quantity of your sleep. So prioritize quality sleep. They say aiming for 7 to 9 hours of sleep is a great goal to shoot for, but really sleep in a way that makes you wake up refreshed, without an alarm clock, hopefully with the sun and circadian rhythms of your cells. Practice sleep hygiene and establish a bedtime routine, and limit screen time right before bed. A good night of sleep starts the morning before, so get as early as you can sunlight on your eyes and movement in your body as soon as you possibly can to set those circadian clocks. Make sure that you are moving throughout the day. Make sure that you get good physical activity. And then as it gets close to bedtime, you establish that bedtime routine where it's a ritual. You know that once this domino happens, this and this and this, you turn the lights low, you turn the screens off, you take a shower, you drink some nighttime magnesium tea, you do some yin yoga, and you do some yoga nidra, and it's all in a line, and your body knows exactly what's coming, and your brain knows when sleep is coming. Limit screen time before bed. Can you limit the amount of food that you eat before bed? They say there's the 3-2-1. Try not to eat within 3 hours of sleeping. Try not to drink liquids within 2 hours of bed, and then try not to have your screens on within 1 hour of bed. The 3-2-1, I think it really is a good practice. I still struggle with it to this day, but we all have things that we need to work on. And then plan your meals that emphasize balanced nutrition over strict diet rules. You don't need to worry about diet this or diet that. Just eat whole, natural, quality calorie dense foods that fill you up and make you hit all of your satiety signals so that you are full and hit that protein amount, and you will be fine. Sleep is the best meditation, the Dalai Lama. So number 4, restrictive diets for fat loss, overrated. Sleep for fat loss, underrated. Number 5, overrated, finding the perfect training program. Underrated, following a training program as written. Okay, so constantly switching programs in search of the ideal one can hinder progress. Also, the desire to have so much novelty in your training program is diminishing your goals. The results you're looking for is in the boring consistency that you're trying to avoid. Consistency with a well-designed program yields better results than constantly switching programs trying to find the best one. So choose a program aligned with your goals and your fitness levels and stick to it for at least 4 to 8 weeks. Over at our gym right now, we are really struggling with this because, well, we're not really struggling with this. It's just something that we have to really educate members on. We have a 4-week phase. And in that 4-week phase, every single day, we have 2 to 3 target big exercises. And then we have some accessory moves that really match the theme for the day, whether it's upper body, lower body, or full body. Now, those big target lifts, we bring the exact same ones back for 4 weeks in a row. And that way we can get our members to progressively overload over time in order for them to see where they started, in order for them to challenge themselves to do better, whether it be more weight or maybe it's the same weight for more reps. How can they progressively overload those big exercises to finally get to a place where they started and where they finished being more volume, more weight, more time under tension, whatever it is, it's better than when they started. If we were to do a workout and then completely change every single exercise, how would they be able to practice the skill of every exercise? As soon as they learn the skill, they would forget it. How would they be able to progress the exercises from there? And then how would they know if they're getting any better? Now, some members don't really understand that until we try to explain, like, hey, this is what progressive overload is all about. Sometimes training is boring. There are the main lifts, but it doesn't have to be boring. Every time I get under a bar to squat, every time I get under a bar to do a bench press, every time I do a lunge, I'm constantly thinking of these tiny little micro adjustments in my form that help me to maximize the skill of what I'm doing. Sometimes I can literally look the same and do the same exercise, but I'm internally creating a mind to muscle connection to where I'm biasing a different muscle group. So I can make a squat more quad dominant or more hip dominant, glute dominant, based on the way that I squeeze and the way that I rotate my knees, the way that I corkscrew into the ground or shift my knees forward. Like, it may seem like the very similar movement, but it is something that I've been working on for years and years and years, double decade right now of training under my belt. And I still every single day am trying to perfect the skill of these main lifts that I've had in my routine since I was little. So choose a program and stick with it for 4 to 8 weeks, 4 minimum. 8 is probably a good maximum, and then you can change it up and track your progress. Adjust your training intensity or your volume based on your results, and then also what you're able to do with your recovery. If you have very little time to recover, you should not be bringing a high intensity. If you bring a high intensity, it's important for you to make sure that you bring an adequate amount of recovery, because if you hit a stimulus that is high intensity and then you do it again the next day, you're just going to be continuing to break down, which is somewhere that, I failed with this my first 10 years of training. Now, when I was younger, full of testosterone, when I was able to recover properly, when my cells were nice and young and healthy, I was able to kind of get away with this. Every push-up that I did, I got stronger. Every jump that I did, my calves got stronger and more springy. But it catches up to you. You really do need to focus on recovery just as much as you focus on that intensity and on that breakdown. Incorporate periodization to prevent plateaus and optimize performance. And what periodization is you have an increasing intensity or an increasing volume, or you track what you did and you try to just do a little bit more. There's linear periodization where I do 1,000 pounds of volume on week 1. I do 1,500 pounds of volume on week 2, and I just keep climbing 500 pounds of volume more each week. That's linear periodization. Or you have undulating periodization, where maybe I have 1 week high, 1 week low, 1 week high, 1 week low. There's different ways to periodize. And if you do not know how to do this, this is where you really should invest in a coach or a personal trainer just to show you what it is, to lead you through a program so that you can learn the best investment you could possibly make. And I'm not just saying this just because I am a personal trainer. Definitely you don't have to get me, but I'm saying being able to invest in someone that can show you the right way and teach you so that you can do it on your own, it's priceless. Otherwise, you're just going to grind away. I did this. I did this with my college education, and I did it with my own self trial and error and exploratory workouts and recoveries and all this stuff. And I still am doing it to this day, where I have biometrics that I track with my blood glucose and my HRV and my recovery and all this crazy stuff. And it's like, why go through all that when you could have someone help you and put you on the right path of this huge maze and get you going on the right path, so that you don't have to waste all this time and energy and money on doing it the wrong way multiple times. Consistency is the key to success. So think about consistency and how you can make that happen. And that's going to be where your results lie. So number 5, finding the perfect training program is overrated, whereas following a training program as written by a professional, underrated. Number 6, overrated, fearing carbs and blaming carbs for your weight gain. Underrated, eating a diverse, well-balanced diet full of proteins, carbs, and fats. Carbs are great for energy and performance, but carbs are not essential. If you're someone that needs energy and performance, carbs are definitely essential to hit your maximum potential. So there's nuance there. Balanced nutrition that includes all macronutrients really supports overall health and sustainable weight management. So include complex carbs, whole grains if you're very active, fruits and vegetables for sure, and do this in meals around your workouts to fuel your workouts and to promote satiety and your hunger cues. Avoid labeling foods as good or bad. I still have a hard time with this because there are foods that I think are not great towards whatever goal you're looking for, and I call them bad sometimes, but try to avoid labeling foods as good or bad and just prioritize nutrient-dense foods, and portion control is so important. A lot of us have no idea what a serving size is, which is why any health coaching client that I have, I make sure that we do at least 1 week of tracking every single thing you eat, because you will be blown away. If you do this properly and you really, for 1 week, you make the sacrifice and the time commitment to literally track every single thing that goes into your mouth, you will be blown away at what you didn't know, or what you don't know what you don't know, right? So all those sips, dips, licks, and tastes, all those sauces and dressings and condiments, all those oils that you cook with that you may not even register as calories, when you start to really track this stuff, it adds up to so much. So I've had people that say, I don't eat anything. I'm only eating 900 calories a day. And then we really, really track, and they're off by like 150%. Just because they only really thought about their big meals. They didn't think about their coffees, their frappuccinos, their sodas, like that kind of stuff. Like, it's not that they're not educated on it. It's just that, you don't know what you don't know. And out of your realm of consciousness, it's just, there are different ways of looking at it. So avoid labeling foods as good or bad, but look at your portion sizes and notice if you can just track for a week what that really looks like for you. Experiment with diverse recipes that incorporate a variety of foods and flavors. Get your protein in, focus on your fiber, make sure that you're adequately hydrated. Michael Pollan said it best: eat food, not too much, and then mostly plants. I also think that you should have animal-based meat, but that's just me. So yeah, okay. Fearing carbs and blaming carbs for your weight gain, way overrated. Carbs are not the devil. Eating a diverse, well-balanced diet full of proteins and carbs and fats, that is underrated. Just a few more here. Number 7, using only free weights because machines are not functional. Overrated. So this is more for the big box gyms. Using only free weights like dumbbells and barbells because machines, well, they're just not functional. Underrated, utilizing machines for variation, stability, and accessory work, and for injuries. I absolutely love machines. I'm also a gym nerd. I love going to gyms. I've been, my entire adult life, I've pretty much worked in gyms. It's my happy place. It's my safe place. It's my meditative state. I just love gyms, and I love machines. Machines offer controlled movement and targeted muscle isolation, complementing free weights for balance, strength, and development and injury prevention. It also helps the mind to muscle connection. A lot of times when I see people doing push-ups or I see people doing pull-ups, their body is trying to do the most efficient thing and fire the least amount of muscles to make that action happen, but they're not actually firing and activating the muscle that needs to be activated in order to do this movement properly. A lot of people, they don't feel push-ups in their chest. They feel it in their triceps and their shoulders. They don't feel pull-ups in their lats. They feel it in their neck and their shoulders. They don't feel squats in their glutes. They just feel it in the front of their thighs. Like, machines offer a really cool controlled environment to be able to isolate the muscle you want to hit and really create this mind to muscle connection that helps you. And it helps your amplifier speak to your speakers properly. It helps your amplifier fire those speakers properly. Your amplifier is your brain, your speakers are your muscle. Learn proper form and adjust the machine settings for safe and effective workouts, and incorporate machines for specific muscle groups or rehab exercises under the guidance from a trainer or a physiotherapist. A trainer can really show you how to activate a muscle properly based on just a few external or internal cues. Everyone learns differently, and some people learn more kinesthetically, more auditorily. I know a lot of clients that just don't respond to my physical cues, but if I tap the muscle they're supposed to be using, they can fire it automatically. So people learn in different ways, but machines really offer this isolated just environment that removes as many variables as possible. Now, there is a downside to that, because if you only did machines, you would have no stability. As soon as you remove the machine and you put yourself into an environment where you had more variables, you might not be stable enough to do the same amount of weight, even though you think you can do that weight, and that's where injuries can occur. So it's more of a symbiotic relationship where you do the main big lifts and then you throw in the machines as a supplement, as a way to hit some different variations and to be able to stimulate the muscle in different ways. The muscles, they just know tension, but they respond best to novelty. So if you can get a novel stimulus to this muscle, you will see the best gains until it becomes not novel anymore, until you adapt to it. Rotate between free weights and machines to prevent workout monotony and to enhance muscle adaptation. The only bad workout is the one that didn't happen. Overrated, using only free weights because machines are not functional. Underrated, utilizing machines for variations, stability, accessory work, and injury. All right, number 8. Second to last one here. Sleep aid supplements are overrated. Sleep aid supplements. Melatonin. Underrated. Turning off all your screens at least 60 minutes before bed. Oh, shoot, he went there. Natural sleep routines and habits are way more effective for long-term sleep quality and quantity than relying on supplements, which can disrupt natural sleep cycles. It's like you're trying to force yourself into sleep instead of naturally using your natural rhythms to help you just go perfectly into sleep. Create a bedtime routine that includes relaxing activities like reading or meditation. Set a consistent sleep schedule. Aim for a regular bedtime as well as a regular wake-up time. They say that the wake-up time is a little bit more important than the sleep time, but if you can make it regular bedtime and wake-up time, you've done amazing things for yourself. Dim the lights and limit exposure to screens, your phones, your tablets, your computers, all before bed to promote melatonin production. One way to downregulate your nervous system is to open up your sight, your gaze, to get into a more panoramic view. So the opposite of that means one way to upregulate your nervous system is to dilate your view on a very small thing. And what are you doing when you look at your phone late at night? You're dilating your view. Maybe you're looking at things that amp you up on social media. Maybe you're watching those reality TV shows that get all those hormones going. Like, try to figure out a way to turn screens down, to get your stimulation down, to slowly wind down. It's just like you wouldn't expect to go from 70 miles per hour in your car to a dead stop. You would slow that thing down. You would make sure that train comes into the station nice and slow, and then you're there for a good night's sleep. Try not to force your way into it with sleep supplements and think that that's going to be the easy pill to get you better sleep. Benjamin Franklin, he said it best: early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. That's why he's on the $100 bill right there, man. Whew. Overrated, sleep aid supplements. Underrated, turning off all screens at least 60 minutes before bed. Last one here. Overrated, losing weight. Oh, underrated, building muscle mass. You saw it coming. Building muscle mass, underrated. Focusing solely on weight loss overlooks the benefits of building muscle, which enhances metabolism, enhances strength, and enhances overall health. Incorporate resistance training to build muscle and improve body composition. Monitor your progress through strength gains and body measurements rather than weight alone. If you could focus on just getting stronger, I guarantee you would see results that would be beneficial towards whatever goals you have. Focus on strength. Stop focusing on the number on the scale. Combine strength training with adequate protein intake and a balanced nutrition for optimal muscle growth. Get those daily steps spread in throughout your day, and you will see your life change. Strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things you once thought you couldn't. Overrated, losing weight. Underrated, building muscle mass. Today, we've challenged conventional fitness wisdom to uncover practical insights that can transform your health and fitness journey. Remember, fitness is a journey, it's not a destination. Incorporate these actionable steps into your routine to achieve sustainable results and enjoy a healthier, happier lifestyle. Do things that you look forward to, do things that you can see yourself doing forever. And I guarantee you will see the results that you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining us on this enlightening episode of Training Tuesday. Share your thoughts and experiences with us and stay tuned for more empowering content. Keep moving, keep learning, and keep living the dream. And that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me on this Training Tuesday episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Share the knowledge that you gain with your friends and family and hold each other accountable. If you enjoyed this content, it does help a ton if you could post on your social media stories a screenshot of this episode and include one takeaway that you learned, and make sure that you tag me and share your journey. Tag me at livingthedream_podcast or at Coach Damien_SD and let us know how this episode benefited you. Let us know what we missed. Let us know what we got wrong. Tell us if you have an overrated or underrated. We want to know. Message us if you have any suggestions or tips that would help your Living the Dream team that we could discuss on future episodes. I will be right here with you, working on making us stronger, happier, and healthier humans. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.